Welcome, my friends, to another episode of Quick Grabs. Today's review is truly special as we take a closer look at this eagerly awaited and incredible product. But before we jump in, if you're enjoying my videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give it a like, and share it with your friends. Thanks a ton in advance. Alright, another quick grabs today, and this one's all about bulk, beard, and brute toughness. Yep, we're finally reviewing the newly released 2024 Papo Musk Ox. So this one arrived a bit late for 2024. New releases like this can be tricky to catch early, especially when it's impossible to find in our local shops. That's why I had to go international with this one. Yep, as always, bought. And here is still unopened in hand. So let's unwrap it together. Right out of the bag, this Musk Ox has that solid Papo weight and a sculpt that instantly says Northern Specialist. Thick fur, low build, and that classic front heavy shape. Very promising at first glance. The figure measures about 13 centimeters long and 7 centimeters high, and it does feel like a good compact size for a heavy-bodied Arctic ungulate. Musk oxen aren't actually oxen. They're more closely related to goats than to cattle, so think of them as giant cold-resistant goats in disguise. Alright, let's line this guy up next to the Collecta and Schleich Musk Ox figures. As you can see, the Collecta one is definitely bulkier and has this upright, almost heroic pose. It's got presence, but the fur sculpt looks a bit rough, kind of like it was scratched in quickly rather than flowing naturally. Now the Schleich version, it's the most stylized of the three, shorter, softer, and with a very rounded head. The fur's smoother and feels more like a toy than a real animal. Papo's Musk Ox sits right in the middle. Proportions are tight, the fur has nice direction, and it just feels more lifelike. Not too stiff, not too cartoonish. Honestly, it pulls off the best balance out of the three. Okay, now talking a bit about the pose. Yep. The pose here is great. It's got all 4 feet planted solidly, giving it that sturdy, grounded look. The head leans slightly forward like it's watching something in the distance, or maybe sizing up a rival. There's a nice weight to the stance without looking stiff. It's not a dramatic action pose, but it says, "Don't mess with me." Quiet confidence, just like the animal. Alright, let's take a closer look at the sculpt, and honestly, Papo really brought their A-game here. The fur, it's one of the best they've done in years. You can see these long directional grooves running all along the body, and they actually look like they flow. It's layered, it's got depth, and just by looking at it, you kind of get that sense of thick, insulated coat. Exactly what you'd expect from something surviving Arctic winters. You can really see it on the neck and down towards the belly. Thick, matted strands that hang low and heavy, just like on the real animal. It wraps around the lower side, and as you follow it back, it starts forming these big, wavy tufts near the rump and tail. That back-end texture has a real windblown feel to it, wild but still controlled. The fur over the neck and chest is super thick, almost like a heavy beard, and it flows forward naturally. It keeps going right over the front leg, making the whole front look dense and powerful, just like a real Musk Ox. Moving up to the back, the profile slopes gently and the fur texture shifts. It gets shorter and more compact toward the spine and the hump, just like in the real thing. That's where they grow a dense layer of underwool for extra warmth. And here's something wild. During winter, they can survive temperatures as low as -40 degrees Celsius, thanks to that double-layered coat. And down at the legs, the sculpt holds up. The limbs are thick and solid near the joints, and the fur tapers off so you can actually see the shape of the legs. You've got some cracked texturing around the ankles and clean dark hooves showing underneath. It's a really solid finish. The head's really well done. Tight fur around the cheeks and snout, and the facial shape feels strong but not overdone. The horns curve down and out just right, with a nice rough texture, and they blend cleanly into that big boss across the forehead. And the ears? Small, rounded, and tucked in just like they should be, not sticking out or oversized. And the eyes? Small, sharp, and perfectly placed. Everything up here feels compact and realistic. And then of course that shoulder hump. It's raised just enough to give the figure weight in the front, like it's ready to charge or push through snowdrifts. The fur there is sculpted tighter in a swirl pattern, almost like it's been packed down by muscle underneath. All in all, this sculpt feels like it was built with care. Everything flows the way it should, nothing feels half-baked, and the transitions between fur types are honestly impressive. Alright, now onto the paint, and honestly, they kept it simple here, but in a good way. The body's painted in this deep, almost blackish brown, but there's a lot going on once you look closer. There's some subtle, dry brushing along the fur, lighter browns, a bit of dusty olive, just enough to bring out all those layers in the sculpt. It gives the coat a cold, weathered look, like it's been out in the tundra for days. The upper back and hump catch the light with just a hint of greenish tone, not flashy, but it adds some depth and breaks up the dark mass nicely. Down on the legs, you get a smoother transition. The fur fades into a lighter brownish gray near the hooves, and there's just enough contrast to make the limbs stand out. The hooves themselves are solid, dark, clean, and without any sloppy paint edges. Now, looking at the head, the paint's actually pretty sharp. The muzzle has a soft beige tone that contrasts well with the darker face, just enough to break things up without looking pasted on. The nostrils and mouth line are neatly done too. No smudges, no lazy lines. The eyes are tiny but clean, with a little gloss to bring them to life. They're well placed and give the Musk Ox that calm, focused expression, like it's watching something from a distance. The horns have a nice bone color with a bit of shading, especially along the inner edges, which helps bring out the sculpt. And the ears are painted to match the fur around them, tucked in and subtle but not forgotten. Overall, the head paint supports the sculpt really well, detailed where it needs to be, but still grounded and natural. Overall, it's a grounded, earthy paint job that fits the animal perfectly. No bright colors, no unnecessary highlights, just enough to give the figure depth and keep everything tied together. So overall, this figure's a win. Sculpt, paint, pose, it all comes together really well. And as far as I know, this is actually Papo's first time releasing a Musk Ox, which makes it even more impressive. They really came out swinging with this one. It doesn't try too hard, it just feels right. Solid build, grounded posture, and enough detail to make it stand out from the usual crowd of wildlife figures. If you're into Arctic animals or just want something a little less mainstream, this is an easy yes. Just a few minor things that could be pushed a little further, but overall, this one's seriously well done. So that's the 2024 Papo Musk Ox, finally in hand after a bit of a hunt, and totally worth the wait. Thanks for watching and sticking around for this quick grab. Let me know what you think in the comments, or if you've already picked one up, how you feel about it. And of course, more figures are on the way, so I'll catch you in the next one.